And we're off with the first of this week's offers in GTA Online, and I'm going to admit this offer comes with a health warning, because the first one I'm covering is the Pfister Astron. So let's get this going. Now, why the health warning? Well, that's because this might not be the car that you think it is. So this is the Astron that I've just bought. It's on offer this week at around 900,000, down from 1.5 million. So it's a decent offer, and it's a nice looking car. It really is. It's based on the Porsche Macan, which is actually a nice looking car anyway. And again, they've done a really good job of this in the game. I think it looks fabulous. However, those of you on Expanded and Enhanced Edition might be buying this because you want to put the HSW upgrade on, and if that's what you want to do, all I can say is don't, because to clear it up for you, this is the Fista Astron, which looks like this. If you want to put the HSW upgrades on it, you need to buy the Fista Astron Custom, which looks like this. Yeah, that clears it up. That really clears it up. So there are actually, unusually, there are two versions of this car. Normally with the HSW, you can just buy the normal car, and if you want to put the HSW upgrade on there, you head down to the LS car meet and pop it into how special works, and you can pop all the HSW upgrades on from there. Not the case with this one. It's actually a completely different car, and that one isn't on offer this week. So we're going to lap it anyway, and I'll also do an across the map in this and see how it goes. So what are my views on this thing? Well, starting with customization, it's okay. You can't go that wild with this one, but you can do what I've done, which is turn it into quite a nice, realistic looking replica of the Macan. I think this thing actually looks really quite good. However, because you don't get the HSW upgrades on this, you are missing out on quite a few spoiler options. But all in all, you know, for an SUV, the customization's kind of okay. When it comes to the drive, this is actually the first time I've driven this car. And initial results are that it actually seems okay, you know. It's not quite as quick as I was hoping, but then again, as I said earlier, I was hoping to have HSW upgrades on this by now. So it seems to do okay for an SUV. It's a little bit loose at the back. It's certainly not one of the best handling SUVs, but it's, you know, it's reasonably quick. It seems quite nice to drive. We'll get it on and across the map and have a look at how it handles there. So here we are, ready with the second part of the test of the Fista Astron, and that's putting this car back into its natural habitat, which is the school run. So this race starts from my facility at the wind farm, and I go all the way across the map, and I finish at the university to drop the kids off, and already, ooh, I am not enjoying this. I was about to say, the last time I did an across the map, we set a new record in the Droger, and that was the first car to go across this map in under 3 minutes. I was about to say, I wonder if this one will get anywhere near that, and I can already tell you it's not going to. The grip off-road is awful. It's another one of those SUVs that seems to be really light, so as you can see, it's bouncing everywhere, which makes it really difficult to control. Seems to have a decent amount of power, so it's not really struggling with the hills, but it does slide. It feels like you're driving on wet grass, not just on grass. Now, with the height of this, I do not expect this to get over the barrier, but I'm going to try anyway. Oh wow, it did. Oh, I think I styled that out. Right, so this is where this one should come into its own. And yeah, it does. Around the twisty bits, when you get on the road, this thing, it's, do you know what? The handling is actually quite nice. It's it feels better around this track than it did around the normal lap of the map track. But yeah, the off-road sections were pretty unimpressive. But let's see if we can make up for it on the tarmac and get a decent time in this thing. So obviously in real life this is based on the Porsche Macan, which is an off-roader with off-roader in air quotes, so very much more of a soft roader. Always a nice looking thing. I've always quite liked the Macan, and the way they produced it in the game is pretty good. Let's see how we do here. Okay, so that's certainly suboptimal. It's a long time since I had that happen.
Well, it's been a few years since I did that.
And do you know what? I'm going to keep that in, because that's pretty typical of this car's off-road performance. It's one of those that just feels far too light, and the slightest little knock, it just flips and does all sorts of weird stuff. So as an off-roader, I've got to say,
you're about as much use as a condom machine in the Vatican.
Although that is still a reasonable time, considering I died halfway through it. I think that's the first time I've ever died on and across the map, or on any of these laps, these timed laps. So yeah, so there's the time. Touch over 3 minutes and 5 seconds, which is actually not bad. That's going to put it pretty high up the leaderboard. So I guess if I did do another clean one, let's have a look. Do you know what? Let's, for the sake of 3 minutes, let's try it again. Now I'm going to leave my first lap in there, and I'm just going to whiz through this, and it's still got all the same problems. It even seemed to be taken away by a gust of wind at the start there. Right, so let's see if I can do a lap in this thing without blowing up. And I guess this shows you the difference between a clean lap and a scruffy one, because even though we didn't explode and die, this is significantly slower. Okay, so that's it for the across the map. So a 3:05, 3:06, I can't remember now, which is a pretty reasonable time. Let's get back and see how it's doing on the around the map. So let's have a look at the top speed. If you're new to the channel, there's a little black mark on the road, just after that sign. The distance between that little black mark and the sign just up ahead near these silos is, I say exactly a mile. It's as close to a mile as I can measure it in the game. So what I do, I drive that as quickly as I can, do a little bit of maths, and that tells me what speed I managed to average over that section of the track. This gives you an average achievable top speed through traffic, and this is what the Astron managed to do. So as we come round here, what do we think of this thing? What are the final thoughts and review? Well, it depends what you want from the car, really. So I don't dislike it, I've got to be honest. It's not, I can't exactly say I hate the car. It looks really nice, it drives quite nice, it seems to be putting in a reasonable time. It's not going to be an astonishing time, but it's okay. So if you're buying this because you really like the Porsche Macan in real life and you want one in the game, I don't think you'll be disappointed. But if you're buying it for any other reason, I think you might be, because especially if you've already got some of the other performance SUVs in the game. You know, if you've already got the Rebler, or even the Jubilee to a certain extent, although I think this is probably faster than the Jubilee. If you've already got any of the other performance SUVs in the game, I can't really think of a reason why you should get this one as well. The only reason to buy it is if you want the Macan. And if you're only getting it because you want the Macan, and you're on expanded and enhanced edition, I would definitely wait for the custom to come on offer. So with that said, here's the final time it managed to do. An 8:58's not terrible. Here's where it sits on the lap board. and here's where it sits on the across the map board. So all in all, not bad. For 900,000, if you don't have a performance SUV, it's a reasonably cheap way of getting into one. It's not a bad car. I just can't see any reason to buy it unless you really like the Macan in real life and you want to get one in the game. So I hope that was useful. I'll see you all in the next one.